Welcome everyone to this daily Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for May 4th, Wednesday, 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so we're still gearing up for that new moon on Friday, which means we are still in this balsamic phase, this lowering of energy as we approach these new beginnings. Now, there's still a lot of that fiery stuff because, of course, we still have Mercury, the Sun, and Venus all in Aries. But with the moon in Pisces here today and in this balsamic phase, it is this lowering of energy, right? So it's a good time to be receptive, a good time to kind of take a break or take a bit of space from what we normally do in the daily activities, right? It's a great day for spirituality, such as through meditation, spiritual activities, maybe such as yoga, but really connecting to that presence, right? And listening, right? It's a great time to listen because what's unfolding are these new beginnings around the corner going into next week, specifically with ourselves, our action, our drive, our independence, which is going to be that new moon in Aries. But to do that, we do have to create space. We have to perhaps get some of that R&R, right? To create the space for these new beginnings. So that's a lot like what we're gearing up for as we approach Friday's new moon. And of course, there's a lot of planets retrograde to add to that fact. Mercury retrograde in Aries, helping us see that there is that extra attention needed in the daily routine with maybe the things that we normally take for granted on a day-to-day level. We expect them to work, like the cars, the electronics, even the emails, the correspondence. But now it's a time to where we can see that, maybe we can't always expect them to go through in that sense. It's important that we maybe fix some things right now, electronically or mechanically or with our daily routines, right? It's a good time to bring that attention to them, whether it's external or internal as well. Maybe even reflecting on how we can have a bit more of that structure and organization in our daily lives, even with our communications. It's a great time to be learning about communication, learning about correspondence and exchanging with others and all of that stuff. So that's been the case with all this retrograde energy. It's just an excellent time to be trying new things, getting our feet wet, and being malleable in the process, being willing to go into a new direction if need be, and just all in all, just being open to learning. And in Aries, this has been the active sense, particularly with maybe where we can be independent in our lives, maybe in our communications, where we can be direct with our communications or with our lives, maybe with relationships, with Venus recently shifting into Aries. And most importantly, with the Sun, I feel like, and this will become more apparent as we start this new lunar cycle, where we gain energy through taking action. Because energy is gained through action. Energy is gained through motion, right? And so there's that prana, that life force. So it's a bit of the dual energy here, definitely the receptive thing going on, but still a good time to be moving forward, particularly learning more about ourselves in the process. So that's going to be the backdrop. In terms of the aspects, we have some lunar aspects today. Still coming off of that Sun trining up to Jupiter. So there could be still a bit of that optimism or insight or adventurous spirit coming in, as there has been the past couple days. It's definitely possible. Very early, particularly for those of you in Europe and the East, the moon will be trining up to Mars, so there could be a good motivation, a good start to the day. Maybe a bit of that confidence and willfulness to start the day right. Then as the day unfolds, there is groundedness today. The moon will be trining up to that retrograde Saturn. So there could be a bit of that discipline, really taking that long-term approach, a willingness to attain long-term pleasures versus short-term pleasures. A good emotional mastery. Again, great for the spiritual activities because of the moon being in Pisces and anything that does require that discipline there. And then as the day unfolds, the moon does form up to that Uranus-Pluto square. And so in the evening time, it's very important, I think, to go deep, to be willing to, again, change old emotional patterns, old belief systems, particularly with Pluto in Sagittarius. And with the moon going over Uranus, this can be very freeing, in fact. Again, finding the freedom in presence, finding the freedom in letting go. And that's been that Uranus in Pisces. So with this ongoing square between Pluto and Uranus, it's been this releasing old patterns can help us find that freedom of peace. And finding that freedom of peace has been helping us release old patterns. Although that's not easy with the square. They're two very different types of energies. But that's been the challenge. And that's been the constructive approach. Now this square has been separating for some time. It's not nearly as in orb as it was a year or two ago or 3 years ago. So it's not a major thing, but still definitely something over the weekend, or excuse me, over the evening, to have that depth, to have that willingness to dive deep, and to connect to being okay with not having the outcome figured out. The freedom that comes from living in the present moment with that conjunction up to Uranus. All right, so that's the day in a nutshell. I think the emphasis will be this balsamic phase, the lowering of energy, good time to retreat a bit, maybe separate a bit from the daily stuff. Still move forward, though, I think, with all this energy in Aries, most certainly. Being direct, being independent, learning more about that stuff. Could be enjoyable, in fact, with Venus, maybe through those interrelationships. But as we gear up for that new moon, a bit of space and presence in the daily activities. All right, so I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.